Can we have a mature discussion about the time that Tobago really said, "Fix it, Jesus"? All right, so it's 1894. It's December 10th. That's 127 years ago today. Tobago, in essence, invoked its right to revert back to self-governing status. So let's talk about it. Now, I know that there are some who would say, oh, well, if all they want to go, then go, right? And I know that there are some who would say, why are you digging up old thing from the past? You like old thing, eh? Right? But let we have a mature discussion about this. I feel like it's 2021. Can we not discuss this without getting testy? Let me give you some of the issues. Let's get into the nit-grits, okay? All right, so they're in the Union. It's 1894. And Tobago was feeling slighted, right? Tobago, one of the major issues was the fact that customs were now being collected in Trinidad only. Formerly, of course, as a self-governing entity, Tobago was collecting its own customs and Trinidad was collecting its own. But now, as part of the Union, those customs were collected in Trinidad, right? So it meant that Tobago would no longer have access to that revenue. That's a huge loss of revenue to Tobago. On top of that, there were other issues like they felt like the Legislative Council, which was sitting in Trinidad, was not concerned at all about taking Tobago out of its plight, right? They also felt like, the Trinidad press was writing very disparaging things about Tobago, which kind of was fostering a sentiment of disapproval, not only among Trinidadians, but also, of course, among Tobagonians. They also felt like the laws in Trinidad were really cumbrous and elaborate that really had no bearing or couldn't be exercised with any true efficiency or even justice in Tobago. It just was unsuited. There were also a few judgments that were handed out to Tobagoans who sought redress in the Trinidad courts that were kind of, they were given a whiff of classism. Okay, the judges seem to be kind of like okay, kind of way, right? And we'll talk more about that as this series goes on. But things like how to deal with quarantine, how to deal with the customs, how to deal with wills, deeds, justice, issues were just not being handled very properly, and all of it was really due to the fact that Tobago was now in a union with a larger island that had its own way, and Tobago had its own way as well, right? If you want more Tobago-friendly content to understand the history of Tobago, you know what to do.